me.
Stay with me.
Hi guys, welcome to the latest Pretty Good Gaming video. We're going to be talking a little bit about Red Dead Redemption today. I'm Henry Cooper, and as always, we've got the Godfather, El Capitano, the father of dad jokes and father to us all, Mr. Gareth Evans.
That is some introduction, man. I was expecting just like lowly outlaw Gareth Evans, but you went full hardcore, so I appreciate that. That's cool.
Going all in. So we're going to have a little chat about some Red Dead Redemption stuff.
We've had a new trailer, right?
Yeah, the new trailer
this week.
Lots to say.
I was all very excited. We're salivating, so we need to talk about that.
All kinds of stuff going on. So it looks like the trailer opens up with our new protagonist, Mr. Arthur Morgan, in a bit of a scuffle on a train. And then that proceeds to, looks like perhaps a robbery or something like that. And they seem to be really going for this kind of blended cutscene and gameplay action thing, which they mention, the narrator mentions in a couple of the other trailers.
The fact that they open up on the melee combat bit, because that wasn't a huge feature in the original. I think that's trying to push on the point that you'll be duking it out in this one a lot more, because they've shown that off in previous trailers too, and it's like you will be duking it out, and like you said, transition into from one activity to another. There's another example of when you're jumping through a window and you get held up by these two guys, and there's an explosion, and then you duck behind a crate. No, it's all, this thing is supposed to be seamless and like natural.
Yeah, right. How can this be so organic and spontaneous? I'm doubtful. But yeah. I'm looking to be impressed. Like, I hope they change my mind, because it looks so unplanned and unscripted, the way he slides down the thing and he's just wandering along. Then the lawmen jump him, and I'm like, okay, that's one thing that's kind of dynamically happened. And then the explosion goes off as well. I think there's a lot of different factors at play, but if it works, that'll be so cool, because it means every encounter you have, it's going to be so unique, because whatever mission you've just done or whatever characters you have around you can impact the immediate events.
Yeah, sure. And I think that's one of the things that they're trying to push, emergent gameplay, I guess you could call it, that you get so often with a multiplayer game that can cause all manner of different things to just happen. Oh, let's go over here and do that. Let's go over there and do that. You don't get that in a single player game. You don't get that, right? Can they achieve it here? I mean, this is one of the biggest questions for me. I remember watching a Danny O'Dwyer video recently, the guy who does the no-clip documentaries, of course. He noted in his time on hands-on with the game, he spent a couple of hours with the game, that there's this what he called an unknown element, an unknown ingredient in the world. Like, because he said he's been playing open world games for so long, he kind of knows how they work, and like behind the scenes how the cogs turn in the programming, and what elements kind of work together. But he says, right, and a guy of his stature and experience, he says there's an unknown element in there that's generating these experiences, generating these action things that he just can't put his finger on. He just doesn't know what it is. There's something that they've coded in here that he just doesn't know what it is, generating these emergent gameplay moments that we're discussing here. It's that proposition that's really exciting, right? Because it's supposed to be such an awesome, living, breathing world. Can it actually really be that good?
Yeah, can it really be possible? You say living, breathing. I'd add words like living, breathing, stinking, because of the whole bathing and shaving thing.
Yeah, that's something we have to do now, right?
I'm a little bit too excited about that, if I'm honest with you. I mean, having customization options, that's always great. I love that. I spend ages, and I mean ages, in RPG character creators. Then having a beard, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. I can't grow a real beard. That's very good anyway.
Right.
So I'll grow a digital one.
Grow a digital beard and then have to tend it yourself.
Yeah, and I think that could be fun.
I mean, it could be fun. I mean, it
could be boring.
I have trouble reminding myself to shave my own beard now. I mean, I'm not sure I'm going to be that enthused to do it in my game character. Maybe it's more fun in a digital world. I don't know.
I think it'd be cool if they did, I think The Witcher 3 did it, where if you're clean shaven, the beard does develop over time, but then if you select a specific style when you go to a barber, that then like sticks.
Right.
So if you want to have a goatee or a twiddly little villain moustache.
Yes.
I think if they did something like that, that'd be cool, because then you can pick your style, or you can have this kind of ongoing organic development.
Yeah, I think from what I've heard, you can't just grow hair by going to the barbers, or facial hair or anything. It has to be there for you to cut it down, right? So you have to just wait for it to grow and then trim it down. So that would imply that it just grows over time no matter what the style is. So you can't kind of glue it in place.
Yeah, just like in the real world.
Just like in the real world, like the emergent real life world that is out there in the real world.
The real world.
Real world.
Another bit that I thought was pretty cool that seems another spontaneous moment is when it's showing off the first person stuff. We'll come back to that a bit later. So, player, Arthur Morgan, he walks through a room and he's eyeing up these guys to just take out to kill. And one of the other gang members, who I think is Micah or Mika, something?
Yes, the long blonde head dude, right?
And the two revolvers, which seems to be like a staple of who he is.
Dual pistol guy.
Yeah. He busts the door down, he just like, bang, bang. They're both out. Looks really cool. Again, if they can do that right and have whatever gang member you're with being well integrated into your combat sequences on his own, like the AI standing on his own doing kind of natural things.
Yeah.
That would be really awesome, but again, I don't know if it can be pulled off.
And this is the difference between actually have this be emergent and have this be scripted and the same every time that you do it. And that's the difference. You can script all the scenes in a game that you want, but every time you play the game, they will be all exactly the same. Now, this emergent gameplay thing that we're talking about, it means that it might happen slightly different next time. You might go into the same situation again, and maybe the guy isn't there to shoot the bad guys for you, and maybe you get shot, or maybe, and that proposition in itself in a single player game in this huge world, it's just so awesome. And the fact that there's no it doesn't look like there's a lot of cutscenes, right? I mean, the camera does cut around a lot, but it all happens naturally, right? And this is, they keep trying to force this point home, and you can see it on the screen on an on-screen prompt where you've got I think it's a left trigger or something to interact with someone as you're walking. It's a natural.
You can threaten them or kill them or like negotiate with them.
Yeah, exactly, and that's all natural. You can choose to do that if you want or not. Whereas historically in a game, you might be drawn into a cutscene and then you have to be forced to make choices. This is more natural and it's more living and breathing than that.
Yeah, and then as well, if you've got another gang member with you, which I think would be an interesting system anyway, kind of like the GTA heist, you can pick your crew. If you've got another gang member with you who perhaps favors a different weapon, like I think there's a Native American looking guy, I might be wrong here, but I think I've seen some screenshots or concept art where he's using tomahawks. And I think that could be really cool. So, for instance, he busts down the door and then just like axes these two guys, similar to how the Mika, however you say it, similar to how that guy would do it, but in his own unique, idiosyncratic character way.
Yeah, definitely, because the gang is 20 plus strong, and so obviously you're interacting with these people, you grow your reputation with these people. You might do side missions for these guys and build reputation so they can come out and maybe do heists with you, because that's another large part of the rest of the game. I feel like this game is more about the outlaw life this time, because obviously last time it was about John Marston's redemption, and it was about him trying to put right what he did wrong and go out and try and find Dutch and put an end to Dutch because for reasons. This time it's more about doing the heists. It's more about being the outlaw, like robbing the trains, walking into a banks at gunpoint and all that. And so you will be an outlaw. You will be a bad guy in this one. So how does that plan out in terms of redemption? It's supposed to be about redemption, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why when they announced that it was called Redemption again, as opposed to Red Dead something else. Yeah. This time it's Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah. So I wonder where they're going to go with that. But also, like, gamers love being able to kill things, right? Most of the top popular games involve shooting guys. You've got Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, Gears of War, Destiny, whatever. Rockstar's other massive game, GTA, that just proves how good it feels to be bad. Like, it's true. You can kill people, and perhaps it speaks volumes for human nature or whatever, but it's just fun.
As for me, what I'm most excited for that I've seen in this, I mean, there's so many things that we can touch on that we've seen so far, but it's just the open world itself that I'm most excited for. I mean, that was one of the things that really stuck with me from the original, and what really appeals to me, it's just having that environment to go out and explore, and with all the wildlife, random encounters with NPCs you might take a mission on or whatever, just being out in that environment. It's just like this untangible feeling that just being out there. And apparently there's loads more things to do this time, and you can go in and take a show. You watch a show. There was a part in the trailer where people dancing on a stage. Like that's cool. I mean, I might undo that a couple of times, but it's cool that I've got the options to do that and be free to do that, and that's really cool. Because some of the side missions as well is another thing. Like the poker was one of my favorite. The dice, another part.
Now we got dominoes.
Dominoes this time too, as it. See, it's fishing, which I mean, I'll leave that if you don't mind. I mean, I'm not a big fan of fishing in games, but maybe it's good. I might try it once or twice.
Well, they'll probably integrate it into kind of a form of hunting.
Yeah, that's true.
You can cook up your fish, or maybe there's a weird crafting element.
That's interesting. That might motivate me to do it more if I've got to do it for the camp, because that's maintaining the camp and tending to the camp and feeding them, and that is a big thing.
Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead. It's the group. You got to do everything for the group.
That's it. It's all about the group and how that interplays with the game, how the game carries through. I mean, apparently you don't have to engage with the gang too much if you don't want to. You can just leave all that and not, go and hunt for them and wash dishes for them or whatever else you got to do.
It does look like they do respond to you, the gang. Well, it looks like some of the gang. It might not be. It might just be randoms. But when Morgan's walking down the street and they're talking about the whole bathing thing, he's covered in dirt.
Yeah.
And this woman starts walking towards him and then kind of stops, flinches, and then backs away. And then Morgan responds to that, the dynamic response there, by like ducking his hat. So it looks like if you're not taking care of yourself and keeping clean and all that, they are going to
respond to it differently.
Yeah, acknowledge it. But then also with the little pulling his hat down, you see at some point in the trailer he's being chased on horseback and they're firing some shots off at him and they miss, but he naturally kind of ducks and hunkers down.
Yeah.
And it's the little details like that that really bring everything together for me.
So we've seen a return of the Deadeye system, which they go into detail in this trailer. They talk about the progression in it. So you start off only being able to slow down time, and then you progress to being able to paint your targets, as in you line up 3 shots at once and then take them all out like you did in the original. But this time as well, you can see like the weak spots. You can, like
critical hit points.
Exactly, yeah, and that's kind of the next level of Deadeye this time. So that's interesting. Again, you can especially hunting wildlife, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think wildlife would be much more important than humans, because if you shoot a human in the head, probably
they're
going to die. Probably. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah. So yeah, apparently if you put too many bullets in the wrong part of a deer or whatever, you take it back to camp, there might be too much lead in the animal carcass for you to eat or whatever. It might be difficult for you to cook it or whatever.
And yeah, speaking of animal carcasses, it looks like he's got 2 strapped to his horse at one point. You can't see it very clearly, but it looks like there's a bird, there's something with feathers, maybe like a turkey, something like that, kind of big, ruffled looking thing. And if you look closely, you can see what looks like an ear of perhaps like a deer or something like that. So yeah, it looks like you can carry several carcasses at once. And I think that makes sense because previously in Red Dead Redemption 1, you killed them and you skinned them. And that was it. You got the loot, you got the resources for trading and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it seems like this time you kill them in the wild and then you have to take them back to your camp to then process them essentially. Cash them in. So it makes sense to be able to carry multiple poor little animals at once.
So I mean, that's the realism, and that's the kind of point that's being thrust home all over the place. It's a realistic, emergent, natural, living, breathing world, single player experience, and the first person. Like I said by mistake there, is actually in there too, which is really exciting because that's an addition. Although I'm waiting for it to be mouse and keyboard. I mean, first person mouse and keyboard works for me, right? But being as a controller first person, I will take third person on a controller. Thank you very much. I mean, I like that it's there. But each to their own, and it's not for me. But like I said, give me it on PC. I guess a lot of people feel the same way as me.
I like a nice controller. I'm old-fashioned, kind of filthy casual. If you want to throw that one.
Old-fashioned, filthy casual. Well, being the older of the two here, I would say that old-fashioned would be mouse and keyboard.
Oh, true. But the first-person stuff does look pretty cool. It reminds me a lot of the other big Western game that I'm aware of, which was Call of Juarez, and that was first-person.
Yeah.
And I didn't play a lot of it. Played a bit of one of them. I think it was called Bound in Blood, and that was really cool. Loads of games do it when you've got dual-wielding first-person, but each trigger does whatever gun you're holding. So your left trigger's your left gun, your right trigger's your right gun. Sure. And I think stuff like that was really cool, and it was just fun little game. So if this can do that sort of thing again, but better, obviously, that'd be great.
To sum up how we're feeling about this is that I was on board for this game from the very beginning. I loved the original, and I was always going to buy this no matter what. I've not been disappointed in the slightest by anything that I've seen. I've only been more and more excited. The only question mark for me when I first heard was that John Marston wasn't the protagonist. You're playing as Arthur Morgan now. It's like, is this guy going to be as good as John? Because John's so beloved. But from what I've seen, what I've heard, he's going to be a pretty decent protagonist.
Yeah, he looks pretty cool.
I'm so ready for this game. I want it in my life right now. And that's all I can say about it, really.
Well, I've got to wait because my girlfriend, being selfish as she is, has decided to have her birthday on release day.
No.
What a little bitch.
Oh.
She's probably going to be watching this and is going to nag me about it.
Inconsiderate. So inconsiderate.
So I'm going to have to wait that little bit.
Can't you wait another year? You know what I mean? It's not every year you get
a
call it Red Dead Redemption. There you go.
Red Dead's got everything in it. I could probably get a virtual girlfriend if I need one.
Well, I hope for your sake she is not watching this video.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Okay, so that just about sums up our video. Any thoughts of your own? Leave them down in the comments. Are you excited as we are? Is there something that's just putting you off? Something that's not just hitting home with you? Excited for the emergent single-player gameplay and the world like we are? Let us know down below. On behalf of Henry and...
Hi.
And did you say hi then?
I did say hi.
Why did you say hi? It's time to go now, Henry. It's time to say bye.
I want to stay.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Catch you later.
I don't want to kill any of you, but trust me, we will. Wake them up a little. This whole thing is pretty much done. We're more ghosts than people.